Hi dear, welcome back to class. So today I'll be introducing you to Scratch Desktop User Interface, and we will be moving our sprite and adding lovely sounds to our sprite. I'm sure you're going to have fun in today's class. But before we get right onto that, I'd like us to talk about Scratch. Scratch is a software application that is used to teach children how to code, create animations, build games, and make stunning art and even music. As we progress, we will be working on different projects that will teach you to think creatively, work as a team, and reason orderly. By the end of this lesson, you will know the meaning and uses of Scratch. You will also know the components of Scratch Desktop User Interface, and you will learn how to program the sprite to move and make lovely sounds. Welcome to Scratch Desktop. So what is Scratch? Scratch is a software application that is used to teach children how to code, create animations, build games, and even make stunning art. As you can see on my system right here, highlighted is the Scratch Desktop. Now this is a current version of Scratch, which we will be exploring in this lesson. Yes, so welcome to Scratch Desktop User Interface. This is the user interface of Scratch 3.0. So everything you see right here, you can refer to it as the user interface. Now you can see different features on this. You can see green, red, and a whole lot of stuff on this. So we'll be explaining each of it as the class goes on. I'm sure you're going to have fun in this class. So let's talk about the files. The files contain options that help you open a new document or open a saved document and even save a document to your computer. Then we also have the edit that helps you to restore a previous work. Maybe you mistakenly deleted it, you can restore it from here, or you can even turn on the turbo mode. We also have the tutorials. So each time I tell you to practice your codes, you can come here and pick any of the tutorials, practice it, and just keep mastering your codes. Now that's that about just the basics of the interface. Let's talk about the most important components of Scratch 3.0. There are 5 main components of Scratch 3.0. One, we have the command block or the block palette. You can see where my cursor is, the command block or the block palette. 2, we have the scripts area or the scripting area. The scripts area or the scripting area. 3, we have the background or stage or backdrop. So everything you see right here in this area where you can see the cat is called the background or stage or backdrop. Now this cat is called the sprite. This character, it could be an animal, it could be a person, it could be an object, whatsoever thing you decide, it is called a sprite. And right below the stage we have the sprite pan, which provides us different options to control the sprite. Now let's talk about each component. First, we talked about the command block. The command block contains different categories of blocks of codes that gives instruction to the sprite right here. So first off, we can see the motion block that controls the movement of the sprite. You can see move 10 steps. You can see turn clockwise 6 degrees and all that. It controls the movement of the sprite. Now the figures you see here can be changed. So when you just double click on that, you can change that to any figure you want. You can change it to 2, you can change it to 200, just as you please. And also depends on what you are working on. Next, we have the looks. The looks block contains all the codes that work on the appearance of the sprite. So these codes basically talk about how the sprite appears. You can see say hello for 2 seconds. So if you are selecting this, it means the sprite will say hello for 2 seconds, and you will see it. You will see the sprite saying that. Then next, we have the sound, all about the audio, what you hear from the sprite. You can see the cat sprite, it makes a mew sound. You can see start sound mew. I'll just click on that. You can hear that, right? Yeah. So that's the sound. That's what the sound contains, all about the audio. The event talks about the codes that starts your script. So anytime you want to give an instruction to the sprite, your first code must come from the event block. They are usually called the codes that initiate your script. So you pick out a block from the event block. Then we have the control block. It controls the action of the sprite. You can see wait 1 second. So if you want the sprite to move and wait 1 second, this will control that. Then we have the sensing. That's all about how the sprite senses stuff. You can see touching mouse pointer. So the sprite will sense the mouse pointer and do something. The sprite will sense a color and do something. That's all about the sensing. Then we have the operators that contain mathematical formulas and arithmetic formulas. You can see plus, minus, equal to, and different signs over here. We also have the variables that contain values that can be used to represent. It represents different values that can be used in game development, especially in Scratch. We also have my blocks, so you can make a block if you choose. Now clicking on this plus sign right here is an extension of other blocks. You can see other blocks of code. You can see music, pen, video sensing, text to speech, translate, makey, and all that. So if I click on pen, it immediately brings pen as part of the command blocks, and you can see all that over here. Now the next thing is the scripts or the scripting area. The script area or the scripting area. This area right here is the scripting area. Now this is where all these codes are dragged onto. So for example, I want to drag erase all. I place them in the scripting area. Now you have been hearing me talking about a script. What is a script? A script is a stack of codes. So for example, I'm taking out the when green flag clicked, move 2 steps, and let's say next costume. So a stack of these codes, when they are all together, it is known as a script. So this is a script, and that is why we call this place the scripting area, because when all the instructions we are giving to the sprite are placed here and they are stacked together to form a script. Then next we'll talk about the background or the stage. The background, as you can see, is where the sprite or the character carries out all the actions it is given to. So for example, the way I just said the sprite should move 2 steps and change costume, it will carry it out in this background. Now this background or stage can be changed. You can see this stage and backdrop right here, that over here it tells us that there's just one backdrop selected. So if I click on this stage, you would see you will notice a change here. Instead of costumes that was initially here, it has changed to backdrop. So from here down here, I can choose a backdrop from the gallery, or paint a backdrop, or have a surprise backdrop, or even upload a backdrop. Now let's say I want to choose a backdrop. So let me choose the bedroom 2. You can see that just clicking on the bedroom 2 shows a bedroom backdrop. You can see that already. Now you can see from here that there are 2 backdrops selected. So if I select the stage again, this would, from the backdrop section, you would see backdrop 1, which is our default backdrop, and backdrop 2, which is the one I just selected. So if I want that out, I'll just click on this button right here to cancel, and it takes me back to the default backdrop. So if I want to go back to my codes, once the backdrop is selected, the motion blocks, you won't see any code in the motion blocks, and you won't be able to make a script that would work. So you would have to select the sprite. You can see from the sprite pan, and then your motion blocks automatically displays. Now let's talk about the sprite. The sprite is the character that acts or performs the instructions given to it. So for example, the script I wrote the other time about the sprite moving 2 steps and changing costume, the sprite, this character we are seeing, is the one that performs the action. I told you the sprite pan has different options for controlling the sprite. So if I click on this, the sprite will hide. If I click on the I button that is showing, the sprite will show. If I click on this 100 right here and change that to 50, that will mean I'm resizing the sprite. You can see it grew smaller. So I can also click on that and click on 100, and the sprite gets bigger. The direction also works in a similar way. Now you can also choose the sprite from the gallery, paint it, get a surprise sprite, or even upload a sprite. Maybe you have a very beautiful picture and you want to be the sprite in the project that you want to do. So you can actually upload your picture from here. Now let's choose a sprite from the gallery. You can see different sprites. So what if let's say I just choose ballerina. Let me select ballerina. So you can see we have 2 sprites now. We have the cat and we have the ballerina. So this is our default sprite. So let me just delete the default sprite and let's leave ballerina. Okay, so that means we have ballerina right here as our sprite. So that is mainly about the components of the Scratch 3.0 desktop user interface. Now still talking about the sprite, you can see costumes right here. A sprite might have different costumes. For ballerina, we can see it has 4 costumes. You have ballerina A, ballerina B, you can see the change there. C, you can see this, and D, you can see it. So it's more like ballerina is dancing with the different costumes we are seeing. It's not just dancing, but dancing ballet, and that's why she's ballerina. So to go back to your codes, you just click on codes. Now that is mainly about the components of Scratch. You might wonder what green flag is. The green flag is to start your code. So when you get to the events block, you can see when green flag clicked, This is the green flag they are talking of. Now if you want to stop the code from working, you can click on the red flag. This is to make your scripting area bigger, and this is to make it smaller and make your background bigger. While this right here expands your page, so you can see ballerina bigger, so it just brings out your background. Clicking on it again would minimize it. Now that is all about the components of Scratch desktop user interface. Okay, so over here we have ballerina, dancing ballerina. So let's take out ballerina for the sake of what you want to do. We want to move our sprite from left to the right and back. So to do that, I want us to use the cat sprite. Let's choose the sprite from the gallery. Let's select our default sprite. Okay, and here we have him. I don't know if it's a him or her though. We have it. I think that solves it. So this is our sprite, and this cat, will be moving this cat from the left to the right and back. So moving your sprite is actually basic and very fundamental, as every other project that we'll be doing will be based on this. So to move our sprite, we'll first of all go to the event block and drag out when green flag clicked. Remember I told you the events block contains the initiating codes. So when you want to start a script, when you want to write an instruction, your code must start from the event block. Then let's go to control. I want it to forever. Any instruction I'm giving to it, and I want it to happen forever. So we'll go to motion. Remember it's moving, so move 10 steps. Let's go to looks. If we check the costumes, we'll see it has two costumes, cat A and cat B. So one has an outstretched leg and one has a folded leg. So that means it gives a feeling of the cat walking. So let's say next costume. So each time it moves, it changes costume. Then let's go back to motion, and let's say if on edge, bounce, and let's set the rotation style left to right. So it moves from the left to the right and like that. So let's expand the page. Remember we said one green flag click, so let's click on the green flag and let's see. You can see it, you can see the cat moving. Oh, the movement is really fast. So you could actually work on that by adding one more block of code. Let's go to control. What if we say it waits 1 second? Okay, next costume, wait 1 second. So let's say when green flag clicks, forever, move 10 steps, next costume, wait 1 second, if on edge bounce, set rotation style left to right. So let's still expand the page and let's click on the green flag. Let's see how, oh, you can see the movement. It's slower now, right? Yeah, slow. So you can actually control the movement of the sprite with different things. You can reduce this to 0.2 and you can also reduce the pace of the sprite movement to, let's say, 5. So let's see what this does. Let's expand the page and let's click on the green flag. So you can see that, right? The cat keeps moving, and that is that for the movement of the sprite. So basically These are your codes for moving a sprite. So it doesn't matter any sprite, whichever sprite it is, be it a cat, be it a bell or a ball or human or a ghost, it still boils down to moving the sprite. Okay, so moving on, we will be making lovely sound with Scratch. So all I just did is I deleted my initial codes and I deleted the default sprites too. So that's why we have everywhere empty. So I did that because to make lovely sound, I want to use some musical instruments to do that. So we'll get straight to selecting a musical instrument. I'd love to start with, okay, let's just go to the music category and let's select the saxophone. So I'd love to start with the saxophone. Let me start making my sound with the saxophone. So I'll just drag this over here and let's get on the board. So let's say when this sprite clicked, sound. So this is all about sound. That sound. Let's change this to C2 sax. So let it wait. Wait 0. Let's change this to 0.2 seconds. So there's an easier way to do this. You can actually choose to come back and drag start sound and again. But for the sake of time, if you want to duplicate, you can just place your cursor on the line of code where you want to duplicate from. So you can see from this line now, I'll just right click. You will see different options and let's click on duplicate. So you will see both start sound and wait 0.2 seconds. So I'll just place that here and I'll change this to G sax and I'll take out that sound C sax. Okay, so okay, let it wait. Let's go to control. Let's say wait another 0. Actually, we say 0.1 second. So remember the instruction is when this guy clicks. So even if you click on green flag, nothing will happen. Let's expand our page. Let's click on sprite. You got that right? So our saxophone is already playing a lovely sound. Let's minimize it. So how about we had another instrument? So let's go to the gallery as usual. Let's go to the music category and I want us to select the drum. So you see when a new sprite is selected, the code for the old sprite does not go to the new one. The new one comes with no code at all. So you have to make a script for the new one. But for the old one, you can see the script. It comes with its code as usual. For the new one, you have to make script for it. So let's go to event. Remember, all codes must start from the events block. So what do I say? When space key pressed, let's go to control. Let's say repeat. Let me repeat 3 times. Remember, we're talking about sound now, not movement. That's why you're not seeing me go to motion block. We're mainly in the sounds block. Let's say start sound drum bass 1. Okay, let it wait. So let's say wait 1 second. So just change that to 0.25 seconds. Okay, remember what I taught you. So I want to duplicate this code. Let's duplicate as usual and just place it. Okay, on that. It's no time to start. No time to start. Okay. So let's change this from verse 1 to from verse 2. And let's change this from verse 1 to item. Okay. So let's expand the page and let's click on this. Reset, remember? Okay, so it's not working. That means the code for the saxophone does not stop the drum kit from working, and vice versa. Now let's add one more instrument. Just one more musical instrument. We go to music category and see that. How about what do you think of the microphone? So let's add the microphone. Okay, this is fine. So let's drag out the codes for microphone when space key pressed. So let's change that to up arrow. Just click on the drop down arrow and select up arrow key pressed. That sound bass box. Let's scroll down. Let's see how many sounds it has. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sounds. So what if we go to the operators block and let's drag out random, pick random 1, 2, 10. Okay, we said it has 9 sounds. So let's say pick random 1 to 9. So that means when the microphone starts playing, it will play sounds randomly from the first sound down to the 9th. So it doesn't really have to follow any order. So we could just make this a little finer and add the next costume. So we can see the waves of the sound that are coming out from the microphone. So let's just make this a full screen, expand it, and let's click on cover. Now we hear that you can see the costume change and you can hear the drum. I'm already feeling like a DJ, guys. So okay. So that's the sound of the microphone. Okay, so basically that's adding sound. So what if let's say we add a backdrop? Let's just make this look more beautiful. Just a little touch of something. Let's go to music. So what if we choose the spotlight and yep. So let's just have this here and that does it. Okay, so now that's that for adding sound to our spike. So you can make a little more modification. Let's say probably add forever loop to everything so that everything keeps making that sound. So let's take out repeat. Let's take out repeat. So let's just add forever loop to everything and let's see what happens and how it all happens. Yeah, forever loop to everything. I want us to. I feel like feeling like making beats. So we said when this sprite clicks, there's so much noise, right? I don't want to call myself DJ spoil, but so you can actually make different modifications to your codes and do something much more fun than this. Something less noisy though. Okay, so that does it for making music.
Now that we have come to the end of this lesson, we have learned that Scratch is a software application that is used to teach children how to code, create animations, build games, and make stunning art and even music. We have also learned about the uses and components of Scratch Desktop User Interface. And we have succeeded in programming a sprite to move and make lovely sound. So, I would love for you to think creatively and work with your friends in programming a sprite to do other lovely stuff. I'll see you in the next class.